The air inside Bean Ridge Cafe, located in the heart of Denver, Colorado, was alive with the steady buzz of coffee grinders and the gentle hum of conversation. It was mid-morning, and the cafe thrived in its usual rhythm. Students typed furiously on laptops, couples shared quiet moments over steaming cups, and locals shuffled in for their daily dose of caffeine. This wasn't just any coffee shop, it was a sanctuary of community and openness. Its walls were adorned with vibrant art from local creators, and posters advocating for environmental causes hung proudly. For its patrons, it wasn't just a place to grab a coffee, it was a place to belong. But that morning, the cafe's comforting rhythm was disrupted. The door swung open, and a man stepped inside. He didn't try to draw attention, but attention followed him anyway. On his head was a bright red MAGA hat, its bold white letters impossible to ignore. It glowed against his otherwise casual attire as he walked confidently toward the counter. To most, he was just another customer. But to others, he was unmistakably polarizing. What no one realized, not even the barista at the counter, was that the man wearing the hat was Elon Musk, billionaire tech mogul and CEO of Bean Ridge Coffee, the very chain they all frequented. Behind the counter, close up on Lily, behind the counter stood Lily Summers, a sharp-minded university student majoring in sociology. She was more than just a barista. She was someone who prided herself on standing up for what she believed in. To Lily, the red hat wasn't just a piece of clothing, it was a statement, a symbol of division, a representation of everything she had protested against in rallies, everything she had discussed in late-night debates with friends. And now, it was in front of her. The man stepped up to the counter and smiled politely. His tone was calm, almost disarming. "Good morning," he said. "Could I get a large Americano, please?" For a moment, Lily froze. Her heart pounded as she debated with herself. The cafe had a policy: serve everyone equally, no exceptions. But how could she serve someone wearing that? Lily thought about her values, about her friends, about the causes she had stood for. Her gaze locked on the red letters of the hat. It was like they burned into her mind. And then, the words spilled out before she could stop them. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice faltering before she steadied it. "We can't serve you." The cafe, suddenly silent. Patrons glanced at each other, and heads turned toward the counter. The man's smile faltered, replaced with a look of calm curiosity. His voice was steady as he asked, "You can't serve me? May I ask why?" Lily glanced at the hat, then back at him. Her voice grew firmer as she said, "That thing on your head, it represents everything this cafe stands against. Everything I stand against." A hush fell over the room. A few patrons exchanged glances. Others leaned forward in their seats, eager to see what would happen next. Close up on Elon. The man took a deep breath, clasping his hands on the counter. He didn't look angry, but rather disappointed. "I see," he said quietly. "But you don't know anything about me." "I don't need to," Lily shot back, her voice sharper now. "That hat says enough." The tension in the cafe was thick. Behind the counter, Eric, a soft-spoken barista in his late 20s, glanced nervously at Lily. "Lily," he whispered, trying to intervene. "Just make the coffee." But Lily shook her head, her resolve hardening. "No, this isn't just about coffee. It's about what's right." The man let the silence linger, the weight of it pressing on everyone in the room. Then, calmly, he reached into his pocket and slid a business card across the counter. "Maybe you should take a look at this," he said, his tone quiet but deliberate. Lily hesitated. Her hands trembled as she picked up the card and read the name embossed in bold, clean letters. Elon Musk, founder, CEO, Bean Ridge Coffee. The cafe fell silent again, the realization hitting like a wave. A ripple of whispers spread through the crowd. "That's Elon Musk?" someone murmured. "He owns this place?" Lily's face flushed. She looked up at Elon, who stood there watching her, not with anger, but with a patient, almost understanding expression. "I'd still like that Americano," he said, his voice neutral. "If it's not too much trouble." Close up on Lily, her hands trembling as she processes what just happened. Lily felt the weight of dozens of eyes on her. She had made her stand. But now, what was she supposed to do? Slowly, hesitantly, She made the coffee and handed it to him. Her hands shook as she placed it on the counter. Elon accepted the cup with a polite nod and walked to a table near the window. He sat down, scrolling on his phone as if nothing had happened. But the moment was far from over. A smartphone camera capturing the scene. A patron uploads the video to social media with the caption, "Barista refuses to serve Elon Musk for wearing MAGA hat. Turns out he owns the place." Within hours, the video went viral. It became a flashpoint of debate. Some praised Lily's bravery. She stood up for what's right. Others criticized her. If you can't serve everyone, you shouldn't be working in a cafe. The next morning, Lily woke to a barrage of notifications. Comments flooded her social media. Some were supportive, others cruel. Her manager called her shortly after. "Lily," he said, his tone serious. "Corporate's involved. We need to talk." Meanwhile, Elon was in his Austin office, fielding calls from his PR team. The video had sparked national debates. Conservative commentators hailed him as a champion of free speech. Liberal pundits dissected the hat's meaning and questioned his motives. "Lauren," Elon said to his PR head during a Zoom call, "I don't want to escalate this. It was a misunderstanding, not a campaign." "But Elon," Lauren replied, "the narrative is out of our control. If we don't address it, people will fill in the blanks." Cut to Elon recording a video statement. That afternoon, Elon posted a video on social media. Standing in a minimalist room, he spoke directly to the camera. "By now, many of you have seen the video of my visit to one of my coffee shops," he began. "There's been a lot of debate about what happened, and I want to share my perspective. First, I respect Lily. She stood by her principles, and while I disagree with her decision, I believe in standing up for what you believe in. But at the same time, respect has to go both ways. We need to find ways to have these tough conversations without tearing each other apart. This isn't about hats or politics. It's about people. I hope this moment reminds us to listen, to reflect, and to understand." His message ended simply, "Let's talk." The cafe, now quiet. Lily wiping the counter as her voice plays over the scene. The fallout didn't resolve overnight. The cafe became a flashpoint in the culture war. But amidst the chaos, one message lingered. Sometimes, the hardest thing isn't standing up for what you believe in. It's listening to someone who believes in something different. It wasn't just any evening in Denver. At a modest community center, strangers were gathering, drawn together by a viral moment that had sparked a storm of debates across the country. The topic: a red hat, a coffee shop, and the question of what happens when beliefs collide. At the center of it all stood Elon Musk, dressed simply in a gray sweater and jeans, no MAGA hat this time. He shook hands with Naomi Carter, the evening's organizer and a respected social justice advocate, known for her ability to bring people together in even the most divisive situations. Naomi had organized forums on police reform, environmental justice, and education inequality. She believed in dialogue over division, and tonight, she was betting on that belief again. As attendees settled in, Naomi stood at the center of the circle, her commanding presence quieting the faint buzz of chatter. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice firm yet calm. "We're here tonight because of an incident that sparked a conversation about symbols, beliefs, and respect. This isn't about assigning blame or winning arguments. It's about understanding." She gestured to Elon. "Mr. Musk has agreed to join us tonight, to share his perspective, and more importantly, to listen to yours. Let's keep this civil. Let's make it count." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd as Naomi turned to Elon. "Would you like to start?" Cut to Elon stepping forward, his expression thoughtful. He scans the room, making eye contact with the attendees before speaking. "Thank you, Naomi," Elon began. "And thank you all for being here." He paused, his voice measured. "The last few days have been intense, and I won't pretend to understand everything you've been through or what this hat," he gestured to an imaginary cap, "means to each of you, but I can tell you what it means to me. For me," he continued, "it's a symbol of individual freedom, of economic opportunity, of the belief that we can make things better if we're willing to work for it. But I also know that for many, it represents something very different. I'm here tonight because I want to understand why. I'm here to listen." The room fell silent. Then, a young woman raised her hand, her curly hair framing her face. She wore a sweatshirt that read, "Love Wins." "My name's Erin," she said, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "Honestly, that hat feels like a slap in the face to people like me. My parents are immigrants, and some of the policies it stands for made their lives harder. So when I see it, it doesn't feel like freedom, it feels like exclusion." Elon nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Thank you for sharing that, Erin. I appreciate your honesty."